So before anything else gets said or gets done, let me address something that I really got to get off my chest. Um, as everyone may know, I was co-owner of the brand Ofe. Um, Shout out to everybody, man, who supported the brand, who purchased something, who show love on social media, who tuned into the podcast and everything. But as time goes, man, just the older I get, bro, I start to think logically, and I understand that it takes time for things to grow. It takes time for things to, actually become a staple. And when you're working towards that, I mean, that's cool, bro. Like that's a part of the journey. That's a part of the story. But when things are one sided, meaning you have one person who's putting, 100% effort, and on the opposite end it's not reciprocated the same way, that person can start to feel like things are being put on the back burner, and all of their efforts aren't aren't actually going towards the benefiting end for the brand, for the business. Things weren't really working out the way that I expected them to. I won't even say I had like super high expectations, being that this was a new venture, and what I'm saying, this was something that we weren't even a year in. But honestly, like I can't sit here and just continue to be the A Mike on the podcast without even having, my partner in the picture, or continuously know that yes, we're gonna have to invest in the beginning. For any business, in investing isn't always the same for every single business and for every single product. Sometimes you might want to get something at a certain price or get something done a certain way, and it's just not feasible at that moment, but that doesn't mean that in the future it won't be. And that definitely doesn't mean that you shouldn't still attempt to execute that plan, execute that idea. Like a lot of the issues were kind of just me being me and wanting to jump out and get things done in order to show how committed that we were, and how that this brand isn't just your how can I say, your fly by night brand. It's not like we're doing things and here today, gone tomorrow. Like, no, I want to show that yes, we're gonna be consistent. Yes, we're gonna have things that you can look forward to. Yes, this is a brand that you should definitely tune into. Without having that, there's no real way to build an audience, to build a community. And without the audience and the community, I mean, you just making product for no reason. Like I say, I mean, at the end of the day, the passion that I have for everything, I definitely don't feel like it was going to get matched. So I had to make a decision for myself, and I chose to step away from Ofe. I didn't want to step away from this fashion space. I wanted to still be able to, bring my ideas to life, still create content, still, have something that I can call my own in this culture, without limitations of having to get a second opinion, or having to wait for the approval, or having to kind of, hear that something isn't going to work, or this is going to cost too much, or this isn't going to be X, Y, Z. Like, it's difficult when dealing with a business partner, that at the end of the day, y'all have two different mindsets when it comes to business. And I'm not saying that there's no wrong mindset when it comes to business, but at the end of the day, if both parties aren't 100% on the same page, that definitely causes conflict. That definitely causes what I like to say would be the slowdown. Like I say, man, I just chose to step away and be able to do my own thing without limitations. Um, I'm not saying that I have the best mindset when it comes to business, but I do know that if both parties in business aren't on the same exact page, bro, that's what causes that slowdown, as far as the progression, as far as the improvement. Like, things aren't always gonna be laid out perfect. as you want it each time. Of course, you're going to have to sacrifice, a couple of extra dollars here and there starting off until you can figure out, a cheaper way or a better way of, funding certain things. And not even just funding. I mean, as far as designs, prints, shit, events, like as a whole, man, like both parties have to be on the same page and willing to say, let's jump out and let's do what needs to be done in order to get to that next step. I would love to do X, Y, and Z. Let me get with somebody else and let me see what they say. That usually just slows shit down, bro. And it's crazy. The passion that I have for being in this fashion space within our culture, I couldn't just step away 100% from that space. So me being me, I sat down, prayed on it, and I said, man, what idea do I have that I want to actually place in front of me and build that as a brand? Growing up, man, I would always, watch like these collection videos and the sneaker shoppings and, stuff like that with people that are in the culture. And I mean, not only well known people in the culture, but sometimes, man, you'll kind of see somebody pop up and it's like, man, I would never think that that person was that much of a sneakerhead or that person was actually, tied to the culture like that. And it always used to ring in my head like, man, once you are a part of the culture and you're true to it and things like that, once you participate, like your name can never be taken away from that, bro. Like, of course, everybody's gonna have a hot moments, everybody's gonna have a down moments. Like it might be you know what I'm saying, somebody who's picking up every release and dropping videos left and right and doing their thing, but the next season, man, they might slow down a little bit. They might not have as much access to these things, or they money might be funny, or they might just kind of want to take a break from it a little bit and just what I'm saying, sit back and reflect on other things. But that still doesn't mean that that person wasn't a part of this culture that we're in, a part of our everyday life, a part of the events, a part of the pickups, a part of the collecting, a part of the shit, the reselling. Like all of these things, bro, is what makes our culture revolve and turn and progress and change. Like for me, bro, I honestly feel like any name that gets brought into this space genuinely, it can never be redacted. And when I say never redacted, I definitely mean that, bro. Like there's no way to uh take you out of the story of our culture, no matter how small the contribution is. Like I'm not saying I have the biggest contribution into our culture whatsoever, but my name is definitely a part in this in some type of way to a certain group of people. Everyone who's ever met me and we've had talks on sneakers or talks on just the culture in general, bro. Like I don't think that any of those people could ever say that I wasn't true to it, or I'm posing to be something that what I'm saying, I'm definitely not. And like I say, once you're in this and your name is stapled into that book that we call the culture, it can never be taken away. Like nobody can take that from you. Nobody can ever pull your name from that book. Nobody can ever point you out and say, "Oh man, he's not a true part of the culture, or he's a culture vulture, or anything like that." But once your name is solidified in this, bro, it's in this to stay, and that goes as deep as film. I always watch movies, and fun fact, my favorite movie is Lottery Ticket. Ice Cube produced film, starring Bow Wow, and he was a fucking sneakerhead in that movie. For me, it was like actually being able to watch something that stood for a purpose that I actually stood for. Like in the scene where he's looking at the Air Force Ones and the guy was like, man, they just shoes. He was like, I mean, yeah, to you, but you know what I'm saying, to me it's this, and he's giving a full breakdown, and you know the details, the history, like bro, that's the type of shit that for me that's what solidifies you into this culture. People can try their best to say, "Oh, you don't know history," or you only wear one brand," or you just collect, you don't wear them," or "You're just a reseller." Like, bro, all of these things are still a part of our culture, no matter who likes it or who doesn't. Just because you're not a reseller and you're a collector doesn't mean that the reseller that, you know what I'm saying, still says that he's a part of this culture isn't true to it in some form of fashion. Like, we all have our, you know, say our way into the culture. Is just how serious you take it and how deep you get into it that raises the status and the level that you get. But I mean, from the jump, even at the lowest level, bro, like you're still a part of the culture. You still came in and you still gave some type of time and attention to this, you know what I'm saying, this culture that we're in. So I just want to, you know, be a representation for a brand that proves that and preaches that, you know, you don't have to worry about you know what I'm saying, you're being forgotten, or you know what I'm saying, being thrown away from the culture that we're in, bro. Like, you can never be redacted. Your name can never be blacked out. Your name can never be removed. Your name can never be tarnished. With all that being said, I was never really able to, you know, give an explanation for, you know, Ofe and what we stood for, you know, the meaning behind everything. So I want to kind of do that now with the new brand, Never Redacted. Basically, man, you know, I want to speak to the sneakerheads. Not every sneakerhead is super heavy on fashion or, you know, certain pieces and garments and all that. For the most part, we want something that's going to match the sneakers that we seek to obtain. And I honestly want to find a way to, you know, make a lane for statement pieces and find a way to, you know, kind of tell certain history and touch on controversial topics within our culture that, you know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, other brands aren't doing. Of course, we have staple pieces like the Supreme, Stussy, and all that, but I kind of just want to bring more of a, how can I say, a history lesson aspect to it. With certain designs, you'll see, you know, characters and clips from old films that are tied back to a sneaker, or you know what I'm saying, like news clippings with you know, say news articles that tell stories of sneakers, or you know what I'm saying, campouts and things like that. Like, I want to talk through the pieces to the people in our culture, and also teach for some of the people who might not know about some of these movies, or you know, some of these articles, or just the history in general. You know what I'm saying? It's people that get into our culture every day, and as serious as they might be, they just might not have the full knowledge of certain things. Same way with me, like it's a learning process every day, bro. Like, as time goes, and you know what I'm saying, the more stories you hear, the more people you meet, your knowledge just grows in the culture. And that's definitely something that I want every piece that I make to represent. You know, I mean, of course you're gonna have, you know, just more basic things, you know what I'm saying, just something to more so represent, versus actual pieces that when you get it and you're looking at it, and somebody might ask like, hey man, like what's up with that shirt, man, what's all you this, that, and the third. Like, you could actually get into a full conversation and breakdown of that. Some of the verbiage that I'm going to use, some of the statements that is going to be on these pieces, they're going to directly talk for sneakerheads, to sneakerheads. You and somebody else might pass by somebody and it's like, hey man, that shirt, bro. Like, I love that shirt. Where'd you get it? Now you see what I'm saying? Now you're actually being able to bring somebody within the culture, you know what I'm saying, into this community that I'm building, and we can all represent something that's deeper than just clothes. if you get what I'm saying. That's really what I want to happen, in the future as time goes and as longevity comes with the brand. I just want to be known for that, speaking to the sneakerheads that seek to obtain, this collection, or seek to obtain that new release, or seek to obtain that holy grail. And when you get it, it's like, okay, I got it now. And when I put it on feet, I got to come correct. I want to help do that. I want to be able to have items and, what I'm saying, pieces and sets that complement not only the shoes, but they complement the lifestyle. They complement what you represent, how you speak. It doesn't matter if the outsiders don't get it. It doesn't matter if the outsiders see it and they say, "Oh, hey, it's just another shirt." As long as we understand now, this is more than just a shirt. This is, what I'm saying, something explaining the history. This is something that's telling a story to people who have never heard about it. This is something that's bringing our culture and my community to the forefront, and explaining so much that, what I'm saying, words really can't do. You'd have to sit down and watch 1,000 videos just to get to the bottom of a real story, because some people get things wrong. Some people really don't know, and they're just telling what they heard and what they think possibly, what I'm saying, happened, or how they think things went. Like, as much research and as much time as I put into, just sitting and soaking up information and soaking up stories, I want to start putting that onto pieces to, just be displayed on bodies. That's the objective. That's what Never Redacted stands for and represents: the history, the stories, the controversy, the blood, sweat, tears, campouts, raffles, reselling, all of that stuff, the sneaker events, the sneaker cons, got souls, all of this stuff, man. That's the culture. That's the lifestyle that we have. That's what we represent.